Hello, my name is Carrie, and I'm recording today on the traditional territory of Champagne and Ajax First Nations. And this is the Yukon Entrepreneur podcast series, a series all about how Yukoners are adapting their businesses in the global pandemic. And my guest today is Erin. Erin, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Erin Holm. I'm the owner, founder, and artist of Den Designs.
And Erin, how long have you been operating your business?
Oh, since 2016, late 2016.
And what is it that Den Designs does?
So we create wood prints and other home decor using my own photography and designs. And we donate 10% back to the Canadian Cancer Lodges, housing people undergoing cancer treatment. The company is in honor of my late father, Dennis, hence Den Designs.
I'm a big fan of your product, and every once in a while you do custom work. And this is my my late father-in-law, Dennis, and so it was a really lovely way to have him with me all the time. So thank you for that.
That's so cool.
And so, Erin, this is our second interview, so it's going to be kind of neat to kind of catch up with you and see how things are going. And last time we chatted, you were talking about sort of expanding your business, getting a little bit more national. How's that been going in the midst of a pandemic? It's hard, hey?
It's been crazy hard. Yeah, I won't sugarcoat it. It's been really rough on Den Designs. It's been rough on a lot of people as well, and a lot of businesses. And I am shocked people don't want to just, spend a bunch of money on art during a pandemic, but I guess that is exactly the situation. So I'm being facetious, obviously, but yeah, it's been really hard to grow. It's been I think I said this in our previous interview, it's been a bit survival mode and keeping it afloat and figuring out how to just keep it rolling right now. Always have thoughts and dreams still. But I think we spoke about this last interview. My goal was to get into some hotels and things like that. It's like, well, hotels are closing their doors, and it's not the best time to be approaching them about padding their walls with art. A lot of my retailers closed as well, especially in Alberta and Saskatchewan. So that's been really challenging. But then I had an upswing at Christmas, which was awesome. And, speaking to other entrepreneurs, I've kind of leaned into the custom piece a little bit. And, it wasn't something I really wanted to focus on. I really wanted to focus on my own photography, but not being able to travel and do photos as I loved and was doing before. It's just kind of a natural thing to do some more customs. So yeah, I mean, it's okay, but I'm not going gangbusters, that's for sure.
Erin, just kind of taking us back in time a little bit and, capturing what was your first memory of the pandemic? What was, there's that kind of age old, where were you the day JFK got shot? Where were you the day when you realized this is a thing?
I was at one of my oldest, dearest friends' wedding in Edmonton. And I remember my boss here said, I don't know if you should go. And I said, I'm not missing my friend's wedding. So I went, and I remember her freaking out about the wedding and if people could come. And the day I got back, I was working from home. And my stuff was being sent to my house so I could work from home and work remotely. And that was 2 years ago, almost.
Mm-hmm. And so, we've been through this, over the last couple of years, we've been through this constant, up and down the public health measures, varying degrees of restriction. Which have you found the most challenging for yourself as a business owner of those restrictions and guidance that we've been receiving?
Well, again, I think it just relates to a lot of my retailers probably and how I'm selling, right? I do rely on retailers to sell my product and to get the word out there. And when they're having to implement mass social distancing, travel, all that sort of stuff, it impacts those retailers. Some of them are very tourist focused and in really touristy locations like Tofino and things, right? So of course it impacts just traffic into stores. Personally, me, I work out of Yukon Entrepreneur. They've had a lot of measures as well, which is great. but it's just been wearing masks and using power tools and, you know, small things like that. You just have to adjust to wearing glasses and a mask. And, but it just seems so normal now, I guess. And just the fluctuation. Like, I think what I find the hardest is, what are we doing this week? Not even this week. What are we doing today? How is it changing today? And I watch your updates more so than actually the government ones. And it's like, okay, we're back to this again. And I think it's just, I won't say sick and tired, but it's just, it's daunting, right? It just changes all the time. And I think that's the hardest part.
Mm-hmm. That instability, unpredictability of the whole thing. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And I mean, Omicron kind of feels like it blindsided all of us too, right? It just came in so fast.
Yeah, it just, we were like, oh, we're getting close. Nope, just kidding. And yeah, not to make light of it, but that's kind of where I'm at. It's just like, put it on the tab of life a little bit.
Well, making light of and jokes and all that sort of stuff, it's like, it's part of that sanity for all of us through this, right? Like,
Totally.
yeah. So, you know, we've all had to adapt our businesses in some ways. You spoke a little bit about that, like just having to wear different PPE when you're at work. Are there any adaptations that you're really proud of, things that you've found ways to innovate during this time?
I certainly, I don't know if I've innovated. I guess you know, doing more customs than before and things like that. I guess that was a bit of a pivot, if you will. Not like a huge fan of that word. It's overused, but I certainly leaned into that. The other thing I'm kind of proud of is I've learned a lot of humility, and I've reached out to, you know, I lost a lot of motivation this year. I had like a bit of a hard year personally, professionally, and then also a great year. It ended on such a high, but there was some lulls in there, and just really reaching out to entrepreneurs I've met in the Yukon and down in Saskatchewan and Alberta. And it's been really motivating near the end of the year. Just kind of the push I needed to like keep going. So I think, I don't know if that's an innovation, but maybe just kind of getting back to where I was when I first started this business, you know, stop overthinking things and support each other. And that, like, that connection and that camaraderie that goes along in the entrepreneurial community was something I really needed near the end of the year, to just like keep pushing forward and not close the doors, so to speak, because the motivation just wasn't there. And I think it's coming back again, which is great.
Oh, that's amazing. And yeah, community is so important, right? And we've lost all of those connections or points of contact in our community. So it's that figuring out how to do it again in a different way. And that's good to hear. What have you, I mean, you've talked a little bit about this as well, but, you know, what are you learning about your business model? What, I mean, the hotel difference is a big one, but, you know, are there any other things that you're, and pivoting, or gosh, sorry, I used pivoting on you, but, you know, switching to be more custom, which you really only did kind of at the holidays previously. And now you're saying like customs a little bit more often. So are there other things that you're learning about your business model?
Yeah, I mean, I got my business to a place where it was very B2B, and I wasn't really concerned with B2C. I shouldn't say that. I wasn't focused on it. If I made a sale on Instagram or the website, I'm like, sweet, that's great. But I wasn't focused on it. And I think this pandemic has taught me that I can't just rely on those retailers. And not to poo-poo them, like, they've been incredible, and some are just doing really well still. And I haven't quite figured out why some are and some aren't. But I need to focus, and I need to spend more time building that B2C client base. And, you know, I'm looking at next summer, and do I do a few of these craft shows and art shows and things like that? I haven't done them in years, because I've been doing totally fine, just doing B2B and not having to be at them. And nothing against them. They're great to attend, but they're a lot of work, and they're, you know, sitting there all day and talking about your product to thousands of people, and which is awesome, but it's just something I thought I guess I had graduated from. And I shouldn't even say that, because there's like very established businesses that are there. And I think I'm like coming back around and saying, no, I think maybe I do need to, you know, get back to grassroots, build the client base, build relationships with customers, and get some repeat customers, get multiple customs for their walls and things like that. So I think it feels like I'm going backwards a little bit, but I'm not. I look at it as I'm going back to the basics, and I'm going back to what made Den Designs what it is. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because that's where my passion was. That's where my excitement for the company was. And then as it was growing, somewhere along the way and through a global pandemic, I lost motivation and I lost like the excitement for it.
Mm-hmm. Did you access any of the pandemic related supports for your business, like any of the government programs or university programs?
Yeah, I used the Pivot program very early on. They were great, working with some consultants with them for some web help. And 90% on me that I haven't switched over to that website yet, because I think we chatted actually shortly after that happened. I just got like swamped with Christmas is crazy for Den Design. So like I got really swamped, and then I just haven't gotten back to it. But that they gave me a lot of food for thought around the website, and it's still on the list of things I want to do and need to do. But no government YG supports. I work a 9 to 5, and I just felt I'm good, and I don't need like those. I didn't have overhead costs and things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So going forward, how are you thinking about your business differently? Where are you, where do you see opportunity on the horizon?
Well, I just bought the most amazing property, and I am so excited to bring my shop to my home. How I started Den Designs as well, working from home. The tools are in the garage. Got this huge triple shop, and I can't wait to like screw things up and try new things and start playing with furniture pieces again and trying prints on different types of pieces, not just wall pieces, and larger canvases, and just have the space to do that. I am so excited. And Yukon Construct's been incredible, don't get me wrong, and I'll still probably work out of there at times, but I'm just excited to be in my own home, spread out, try new things, and just like get that excitement back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you taken up any new skills or anything like that to better position yourself? Or, I mean, I guess building out a shop, that's certainly better positions you. But.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always growing and learning. I think through the pandemic, I did some project management and other coursework, not related to Den Designs, but I've learned a lot through other entrepreneurs and just speaking to them, but nothing, I won't say hard skills really. Yeah, I just want to kind of be lighthearted about it and try new things and see what sticks and not lose sight of why I started this business.
Mm-hmm. In terms of leadership, like leadership is inherent in all that we do as business owners. What are you learning about yourself and those around you?
I learn new things about myself all the time. Boy, it's been a hard few years for that for sure, because I feel like I've been through a lot, like I said, in the past 2 years, global pandemic aside even, and that compounded with many other big life moments. I mean, I've always known I don't know it all, but I think I've learned that I can be a bit like, I've learned how to be a better listener. I've learned how to take more in from different people and genuinely like take criticism. That's another thing that's I'm really working on. I'm traditionally am not very good at that. Especially when it's like about your art and your pieces and your photography and everything you've done and like blood, sweat, and tears, and art's so subjective. 2 to 5 years ago, someone would say, I don't like that photo. And you'd probably like shed a tear. I'm like, wow, like that hurts. And now I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I mean, not that that's going to solve all my issues, but I think learning to ride the waves a little bit, and not take things personally, that's been really helpful in business for sure. And then learning from other people and realizing where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And I have a ton of weaknesses and I am not good at very many things. I'm a great generalist. But, you know, and learning to ask for help. That's something I've traditionally not been good at, and I've had to, you know? So I think a lot of good has come out of the last few years for me personally and to learn about myself.
You know, we've got this work ahead, you know, of kind of rebuilding or, you know, helping out this Yukon economy that we're all part of. What are some of like the things that you're paying attention to or your hopes for what the Yukon economy looks like as we emerge from this?
Well, it's so funny because I remember that question last year and I was like, yeah, this will only be like a few months, right? I mean, I think I would say the same thing, and I don't know exactly what I said, but I think I'm hoping that this, like the support local movement continues. I hope that the Yukon economy is driven by local entrepreneurs and us feeding into our local economy. And I hope to see more Yukoners and more entrepreneurs exporting nationally, internationally. I think that's like been really cool to see that through the pandemic. Like there's been companies that have totally thrived and have gone international. One that comes to mind, like Yukon Soap Company and Joella and what she's doing. It's crazy. It's like so cool to see that. And I just hope that that can continue and that we're not just a one-trick pony economy. And I don't think we are, but I think people traditionally see, you know, mining, tourism, but we're so much more. Like we've got an incredible tech industry startup. Like we've got other incredible industries that I think have a real opportunity to shine here.
Any advice for emerging Yukon entrepreneurs if they're just starting?
Don't do it. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. You know how many people said that to me though? Oh my goodness. Like so many risk averse friends and family, I will say, but I don't know, like do your research, get a crew of people that you trust, have good mentors. One of my dearest friends from Saskatoon is a very, very successful entrepreneur. She runs a tech startup. We met in our master's program and she's one of my closest friends and one of my most cherished mentors. I can ask her anything and she's got my back, but she'll also call me on my crap. And that's important. So I think having your people, having your group, not just family and friends, but people you trust, and have some humility because you don't know everything. I guarantee it. I don't care who you are. You don't know everything. And everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So I think those are some good pieces of advice, but yeah, and know when to ask for help. I don't know if I said that, but yeah, those are some nuggets.
Any aha moments or shifts in your worldview because of the pandemic and how you're thinking about things differently?
Well, I'm an extreme extrovert and I just bought a little cabin in the woods. I don't know if that explains how I'm feeling about this global pandemic. Yeah, honestly, like it has taught me a lot about myself and like what I want out of life and what I want out of my career and choosing happiness and personal work-life balance and things like that are like, they've always been important to me, but even more so. And like finding a 9-to-5 that I love and getting back to what excites me about Den Designs, like all that has shifted dramatically in the last few years. And I won't say it's just COVID. There's been other changes in my life, but like certainly COVID has helped with that. Yeah, and like we can't go out, we can't like dance, we can't go to do these events and things that we love to do. So I think I'm joking about the cabin in the woods, but it's kind of true. Like I'd rather host and have people over where appropriate and allowed than like, you know, be out at the bar and being at these big events now. I remember the first time I went to the fireweed market after like we were allowed to leave our houses again. And I was so overwhelmed Like, it's a small community, people come up to you, and I was like, I was just at the entrance and I felt like I wanted to leave. I was a crazy extrovert. I was like, this is so overwhelming. So I guess that's my aha and my shift about like myself and how I see the world. And I think I'm more intentional about how I spend my time and where I spend my time and who I spend my time with.
I guess that's an interesting thought there too, because I mean, you as a self-proclaimed extrovert and feeling like going to the fireweed market, which is really where your potential customers might be from time to time. So even like if that shift is in you, is that shift also is that reflective of a broader shift? It's who knows what will happen, I guess there.
Totally. And like I do equate it to maybe, there was a drop in even my social media presence because I was just like, I felt it on all fronts, and I think I didn't verbalize it, but I think I was just like, I was obviously really feeling it. And like the shift in myself, the shift in everything. And yeah, like I had people messaging me on Instagram. They're like, you haven't even posted. Are you still running your business? And, so yeah, I think there was many moments that I questioned things for sure.
Mm. What's been your wellness practice and kind of keeping you grounded through all of this?
Lots of outdoor time all the time. Doesn't matter the temperature. I have spent so much time outside in the last few years. I've always been outside, but every lunch hour, every evening, like I'm out. And it's been really, really, really important to me to connect and with nature and disconnect from technology. Weekends, I prefer to be out of cell coverage. I need to shut off and be out in nature with people I love and my dog and getting sun or snow or wind or whatever on my face. Just
minus 40.
Doesn't matter. I will be out there. So yeah, lots of fishing. I took up hunting this year, which has been so much fun and like really incredible. Yeah, just connecting with the land. It's really, really important.
Any closing thoughts before we end today's interview?
What a whirlwind. I like remember this interview a year ago and I was like, it felt like this was almost done. And I guess this just feels really surreal for me because it's like we spoke yesterday, but it also feels like 5 years. And yeah, I guess even my comments, like things are good. Things are really good, but there's been a lot of ups and downs and challenges. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and I hope other people can learn or feel better about their lives after they hear this or whatever.
Well, I mean, thank you for that, Erin. And I think it's great. You talked a little bit about that humbleness and that reflection, and it is good to hear that camaraderie of like, sometimes this is just hard. Like, it's just hard to find that motivation to do the next thing. Me too. I've got a website sitting there in draft, like just can't push it out the door. And, sometimes these things are hard to do.
Totally. And, I was really excited. I just put up a wall art installation at Bullet Hole Bagel. That was just like a fun project. I reached out and it's like, yeah, like this is the stuff I love to do, and that was just like a great little early year win, and I hope to do more of those. And I hope to just find projects and installations and custom pieces that just like really get me excited. And that's going to be my focus this year.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Erin.
Thanks so much.